you can see I've put together a Venn diagram to help us compare the classic version of the Three Little Pigs in the blue circle to the true story of the Three Little Pigs in the pink circle. Remember, when we use a Venn diagram, the things that go in the middle are elements that these two stories share. So we're comparing classic versions to fractured versions. I've added a few statements here, and you're going to help me put them into the right place to compare these stories. So a few of the items that I've included, and notice I didn't write these in full sentences. It's more important to capture the idea and talk about where these belong. So which stories had the Three Little Pigs? Did that belong just to the Three Little Pigs, or the true story of Three Little Pigs, or were there Three Little Pigs in both? You're right, there were Three Little Pigs in both, so that would go in the middle. What about a wolf? Where do you think that one would go? I'm going to put it here. You've got it. Both stories had a wolf. What about this statement? Wolf visited 3 houses. The wolf visited 3 houses. Yeah, in both stories, the wolf visited 3 houses. Now, you can see I've already started to look at elements of good characters and evil characters, and now I've started to pull elements of the plot or what's happening in the story. We could also go through some of those other fairy tale elements and see if they are shared in common between the two stories or separately. What about this one? The wolf was baking a cake for his grandmother. Yeah, that wasn't happening in the classic version. That was part of the fractured fairy tale by John Seiska. What about, this one, told in first person by the wolf. That means that the person telling the story, when you read the story, you're hearing the words, the story told by the wolf. That's the first person. And in that would also be part of the true story of the Three Little Pigs. The wolf was hunting the pigs. Yeah, that one would just be in the classic version. The wolf huffs and puffs and blows the houses in. Now, there was damage to both the houses in both stories, but only in the classic version is the wolf huffing and puffing and blowing the house in. What about this one? Told in third person by a narrator. So again, we're listening to who's telling the story. Was it told by someone outside of the story telling us what's happening? Or first person, like in John Seiska's true story of the Three Little Pigs? Right, Three Little Pigs, the classic version, is told by a narrator, somebody else outside of the story, telling us what's happening, the events. Here's our element of magic. Animals behaved and spoke like humans. Yeah, that happened in both of the stories. It's a little too big to fit in there. Got one more here. The wolf sneezes the house down. The wolf sneezes the house down. Well, in the classic version, the wolf huffs and puffs and blows the house in. But in John Seiska's, he sneezes, achoo, to blow that house down. Now, those are some of the elements that I found as a way to compare the classic version to the fractured fairy tales. We're going to continue to work on that as we explore even more fractured fairy tales. I know I'm loving reading these books. I hope you're enjoying it just as much as I am. When you compare the fairy tale classic versions to the fractured fairy tales, remember, explore those 6 elements of the good characters, evil characters, magic, element of 3, the problem and the solution, and then also think about other things that the author might have changed, like the setting or who's telling the story. There's other items that you could explore to compare those stories as well.